So a college sports organization has just announced a new policy banning transgender athletes from women's sports. The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics will permit only athletes whose biological sex is female and have not begun hormone therapy to participate in women's sports. Athletes who have started hormone therapy may participate in workouts, practices, and other team activities, but not in any of the competitions. ESPN writer Katie Barnes joining me now to break it all down. So, Katie, just give us a sense of the breadth of the NAIA and the number of athletes that we're talking about and teams that we're talking about that will be impacted by this, because we're thinking about NCAA, and we hear a lot about that, but there's a difference between the two.
Yes, and the difference is quite significant. So the NAIA is comprised of a little under 300 schools. They're all small for the most part. And the total number of athletes competing within this organization is around 83,000. And so if you compare that to the NCAA, which is about 1,100 member schools and something like 500,000 athletes, this is a smaller organization. But nonetheless, it is significant in that it is the first college sports organization believed to have taken this kind of a step.
And as you know, you and I both have been covering this story. It's been very controversial. There are so many opinions on each side. So I'm curious, what's the NCAA saying in response to this policy? And could you see this having a domino effect?
The NCAA has not said very much in terms of a direct response to this policy. When I reached out to them for comment, they did not comment specifically on how this policy change would affect anything within their purview, instead saying that they are committed to uplifting Title IX and investing in women's sports more broadly and ensuring fairness for its athletes. But other than that, they really haven't said very much, to be honest. In terms of a domino effect, I think that is an open question. How will the larger organization respond to continuing ongoing discussion around transgender athletes competing in the collegiate ranks?
So what's your gut here as just a writer and somebody who covers these issues in sports? Was this sort of a smaller organization kind of testing the waters to see what the reaction would be, and the NCAA is sort of on the sidelines watching what's happening and then might jump in on it depending on the reaction? I mean, everything becomes so political, right? And how the public reacts.
Well, I think there's no doubt that certainly for the last 3 years in particular, the overall landscape has been one that favors restriction of transgender women competing in women's sports. Really since Idaho passed HB 500, the first piece of legislation that restricted school sports for transgender girls and women, there has been a continuing policy update that favors restriction. We haven't seen many policy organizations update in terms of favoring inclusion. So in that sense, anytime an organization is updating its transgender athlete policy and is doing so in restriction, there's a question of, will another organization in a similar space follow suit? We saw that from an international federation standpoint in terms of international sports with World Aquatics and World Athletics. Will this happen here in collegiate sports? That is a question we don't quite know yet.
Well, we'll follow it for sure, and we will have you back, Katie, to talk about it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.